Hi, I'm Carly with the Legal Tech Fund. Ahead of the summit this November, I'm sitting down with our advisory board to hear what they're looking and watching for in legal tech right now. Today, I am joined by Michael Pastor, Dean of Technology Law at New York Law School. Thank you so much for joining me.
Carly, it's great to be with you.
You have a very unique title. Would you tell us what you do and where you're focused right now?
Sure. So I play two roles here at New York Law School. I am the director of the Tricarico Institute for the Business of Law and In-House Counsel, which is our institute that seeks to train law students who want to go in-house at any point in their career. It's a very targeted mission that we have to prepare students for roles that are other than those of sort of classic litigators or prosecutor type jobs. Then I'm the Dean for Technology Law Programs. I'm the co-head of the Innovation Center for Law and Technology. And in that role, I oversee all of our work setting up curriculum and programming for students as it relates to technology law and as it relates to non-technology curricula that needs technology inputs in one way or another. And now sort of given where AI is headed, that's sort of true for all of the different classes that we give here. And in that second role, I also organize events and other programming, including the Tribeca Cybersecurity Summit, which is our flagship cyber summit that we host here every spring.
Excellent. So sitting from your vantage point with everything that you manage, what is the top trend that you are watching this year? We know the summit's a couple months away. So much is going to change yet again, between now and the summit. What's the top thing you're watching?
Sure. I think two trends are the ones that I'm watching in the lead up to the summit. So one is kind of where things shake out as it relates to interoperability between the various tools that are being rolled out and deployed in the legal profession. As the former general counsel to the city's IT agency and the city cyber command, I remember when technology tools graded on each other or didn't play nicely together, it actually could really undermine what we as a client and customer of that technology were trying to do. So one of the big things I'm looking to see is what partnerships are there out there? How well does this technology work with other technology? And that can be incumbents or new entrants as well. The second trend that I'm really interested in as an educator is what type of developments we can see in the nonprofit sector. I see huge potential for legal tech and AI tech in areas such as public defender offices and other indigent legal services. I'm really curious to see in what ways legal tech can be deployed, not just at the sort of Fortune 500 level, but at the level of government or at the level of the nonprofit sector.
Yeah, two really key things to be watching. What are you seeing from your law students? What's new and different in 2026? What's the energy that you're feeling from them today?
I guess I'd answer that by saying I'm seeing new things and I'm seeing not new things, right? So I think that law students come to law school with it's just a huge variety of interests and things that they want to do. And that remains the same. Every student who walks into my office to talk to me has a different dream, has different ideas for what they want to do someday. And that has been true from the minute that I started working here. And what you really want to do is hear them and think about, all right, well, how best can we empower you to go do that thing that you do? I think, the new thing is just the rapid pace of adoption of AI tools in the legal profession. Right now it's the summertime. Our students are all out there in the world experiencing maybe their first legal internship ever, or maybe their second. And I think, you and I, Carly, can be pretty confident that those students are interfacing with AI tools in one form or the other, if not many. And for many of them, that will be new, right? This won't just be, I'm on ChatGPT asking a trivia question. It's no, I got to write a memo on something, and how am I going to deploy an AI tool to help me make the best work product I can? And how am I going to avoid some risks that come up with that? And that we're spending a lot of time trying to train our students on upside downside.
That's really interesting to think about, that this is really the first summer where there's going to be a multitude of tools that they're using, and they are going to come back different with different skill sets, and maybe different skill sets than what the professors at school have.
Absolutely. Now, there may be some rare cases where students are just using traditional legal research tools, or just using maybe a word processor type application plus. But I have to think the more likely scenario is that their supervisors deploy AI tools themselves and will perhaps ask them to deploy AI. I have a number of legal fellows working for me this summer, and I am supportive of them using AI in the work that they do for me, and they do use it.
I look forward to hearing what happens in September. You'll have to report back.
I can't wait to report back. I will do that.
So you and I were fortunate enough to be a part of the Pathways project, and we spent a couple months thinking about what 15 years in the future might look like and what different scenarios could play out. What is your personal biggest, boldest prediction for what the industry looks like 15 years from now?
Yeah, I think that, and actually the Pathways experience really took me to this place, right? The journey of going through the Pathways with that incredible group of people, I think, has me in this place, which is that I envision a legal industry that has a whole new set of roles and people doing those roles that we almost can't envision now. I'm a believer that a lot of what we see now in the legal profession may end up looking somewhat similar, to the way it is now. But whether it's, in a litigation context, in a transactional context, regulatory compliance context, my view of it is that all of the work that we're going to need to do as a legal community will require expertise and, frankly, organizational structure that has a whole new paradigm. And that to me, is the biggest one. Like, I just don't imagine you're going to have a bunch of litigators that has kind of one AI support person. Yeah, I just don't see that. I think you have a bunch of litigators and you have a bunch of AI knowledge management folks, and frankly, just AI experts that maybe the litigators, are not going to be, and maybe we don't even want them to be. So I think that I'm actually quite excited in that regard. I'm a positive person by nature. I tell my students all the time, if I'm not optimistic about their prospects, then I cannot do my job well. I must be optimistic, otherwise it's just too hard. And I am optimistic because I think that the baseline legal training will remain vital and important and useful, but it may be for brand new roles that just never existed, before. And I'll cite one example. I'm seeing postings and people getting hired in the legal engineer position. I don't know that I heard that term a
And
year ago.
legal data scientist. I like
Legal data science, AI law manager. These are all, new things, and they're going to be fun. I tell my students, part of the reason I like to train them to go in-house is because in-house work can be really, really rewarding, and that's what we want.
I like that vision of the future. What are you looking forward to most for November in Scottsdale at the TLTF Summit? And what are your tips and tricks for folks who are attending for the first time?
Sure. So can't wait for the summit. It's one of my favorite things each year. And I was thinking about why. And I'll make an analogy to World Cup soccer, since it's front of everyone's mind, at the moment. When you watch a good team play, what you see is a commitment among the team members to the overall goal of the team, not just to individual success. And why that's important is because that commitment elevates the quality of the play. Whereas if each of the 11 players is only focusing on their success, you don't get there. And TLTF and the Legal Tech Fund are just so good at inviting people to the summit that have that commitment to this particular community, so that it is not just, one way. It's not just I go and I learn and I go back with the things I've learned. It's I go and I give and take, and we share things, and there's an elevated state of the community writ large going out of it. So that to me is just something to look forward to every year, and also just to be reminded that, you know, we're not in this thing alone. There are people all, you know, across the country. There are legal educators and law firm people, in-house legal departments, regulators. They're all thinking about this stuff, and it's nice to feel to be a part of that community. So for the folks who are new, I'm sure that they will have a wonderful time. My tip for the new folks is get off your phone. We all love our phones, and I like to check my phone. Everyone likes to check their phone. But if you're going to travel to such a beautiful place, beautiful part of the country with this great group of people, you know, and you find yourself scrolling on your phone as a panel is speaking, like, what are you doing? You know, listen to the panel, talk to your neighbor, make some new friends and some colleagues. I made some great friends at the Legal Tech Fund Summit, people that I had never met before. And now at a place where I can invite different friends to come and participate, and we'll see them there. So yeah, just be engaged.
I love both answers. Be present, and I like your analogy of the World Cup. Very, very relevant today.
I would think so. It may not be relevant, you know, in November, but there'll be some other team people are thinking about then. So.
Well, thank you so much for being on the advisory board, and thank you for joining me today to share a few views on current legal tech trends.
It's an honor to be on the board, and a pleasure as always to chat with you, Carly.
Great to see you.